Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Oateo. I'm here to give you my first review today. Going to give you my take on Dune 2. Pretty excited about it. I went to the theater and saw it, and happy to share my thoughts for you guys. Um, I'll just give you a bit of background. I'm definitely a pretty big Dune fan. I read the book back in high school. I enjoyed the sci-fi miniseries. I own the David Lynch one as well. I think it's pretty good. It's a little bit out there, a little psychedelic. I got the special edition one to 3 hours, but goes into a lot of depth and background into a lot of things that I don't know. Maybe they don't all add to the story, but it's super interesting to watch. And I really like how they show the Spacing Guild and stuff, and how the spice is like how they control the universe, and how even really the Emperor Shaddam the Fourth is sort of beholden to spice too, right? Everyone kind of is. But anyway, and I also watched Doom Part 1. Really enjoyed that. Doom Part 2, here we go. So just a bit of background. When I started watching it, I also want to say the setting and stuff, great. Just fantastic. Everything looks amazing. The ornithopters coming in with their wings beating, they look like crazy dragonflies. And like the design is so good. They're spot on to what when I used to read those books, that's what I thought they looked like. And the spice harvesters are they're massive with like giant legs and everything. They look amazing. There's Harkonnen and Harkonnen crews manning them and stuff, and like the Fremen are always attacking them and stuff. But they just look great. Carryalls are huge. They're just giant ships that come and pick them up, so that the worms Shai Halud doesn't come and eat the harvesters. Like it just looks so good. Sand never looks so good. I love it all. My favorite was Gideon Prime, where the Harkonnen live, or Harkonnen, sorry. It's like black and white, but like also kind of a strange color. I don't know, and like the fireworks look like ink. Fade Rafa was there, and like it's got a crazy look to it. Like Austin Butler looked great, and Skarsgård was there back again as Baron Harkonnen. Like he didn't do as much this time, but you know he was still there. He's good. His presence was great. Loved him in the first one too. But yeah, overall, really good. You get to see a lot of this time. It kind of starts off right where the first one ends. You know, the Atreides family defeated. Oh goodness, their whole empire destroyed. His father, the Duke, defeated. So anyway, him and his mother are off, Lady Jessica, and they're with the Fremen. So he ended up killing a guy at the end of the first movie. In the book, it kind of goes into like his wife and how he's got kind of a debt to them. But in this, they just kind of go forward. It's how he kind of gets in with the Fremen, and he meets Chani. Of course, that's the girl he's kind of been having visions about and things. So, you know, he's pretty happy about this. And then they go on in, and then, of course, there's all this talk about, you know, could he be the one and all these things. Because there's, of course, a prophecy that the Bene Gesserit had set up, and his mom kind of knew about it. And so she had a boy for it's a big conspiracy. They don't go into like a super large amount of it, but it is nice. You do get to see the Bene Gesserit, and like they're really different. And she becomes the mother enemy of the Fremen, and to do that, of course, she has to drink the water of life, and she's pregnant with her daughter. So when she drinks the water of life, of course, it flows on through and has quite the effect, and so then it affects the baby. It kind of differs from the book there. The baby never comes out, but anyway, they communicate to it through the womb. It's it's pretty different. I wasn't expecting it when I went in. So if you've read the book, it's a bit different, but it's interesting. It's a different way to do it. The timeline is really condensed. Like Paul sort of gets in with the Fremen. In the book, it takes a couple of years to really defeat the Harkonnen. They're dug in there. They've been there for like 80 years, right? But I don't know how long it is. It's 6 months. His sister's never born. So, but they go all in at the Harkonnen. They're attacking harvesters. There's amazing fight scenes. It's so good. Like there's like battles where they're like bursting up out of the sand and like running, and like there's one scene with oh, he's Paul and Chani. They got like a rocket launcher. They're going under a harvester. The legs are going, and it's the sun's so bright. You see the shadows, and they're trying to shoot. Oh, it's really good. There's a lot of action, a lot of fighting. All the scenes are just great. Special effects are really really good. They nail all that. You really get into it there, and of course the whole thing with prophecy. There's another big difference. Like now Paul's in the north, and they're Fremen are separated north and south in this. It's a bit strange, but it's okay. And then the south are like the fundamentalists, and the north are. So he doesn't want to go south because he's seeing visions of the prophecy of what's going to happen if he does, and he'll unite all the Fremen against the Harkonnen. But he really wants to avenge his dad, and his mom does too, right? And she really does. Like, she goes down there before him. She's like, "Let me just get down there. I'll prepare the way. Can you come on down?" But he knows if he does, like, he sees visions of if he follows a woman, it's going to be bad, and the woman ends up being his mom. And like in the book, also him and Chani are very in love already. Like they have a little kid, like a little baby. It dies, but it's like they have it, and they have a big relationship. None of that's here, but they're kind of together. But she doesn't really seem to like him very much. And when the whole prophecy thing starts coming up, Chani doesn't really believe in him and stuff. It's different. It's a different take. I understand. Like, I mean, Paul Herbert never really meant for Paul to always be looked at as like this big hero, and like you're supposed to kind of. I think it was about JFK or something at the time. I remember there was a Ford, but he didn't really want Paul to be looked at as this great hero. But in the first book, if you were to read it though, Johnny especially, she really is like they have like, they have a great relationship. So it's very different. She doesn't seem like she really likes him that much in this. I know they kind of have a relationship, but she doesn't even, I don't know. She, like everyone else, kind of bows down to him at one point. She doesn't want to. Stilgar has to drag her down, and she doesn't want to save him when he drinks the water of life. And in the book, she's like by his side, I think, for like a few weeks or something. It's different, but hey, it's a different take, and it works. It's very cinematic. You know what I mean? They don't take 2 years to do something. They kind of condense it all down, so you get a lot of really good fast action. It's Paul does, like I just mentioned, Paul does drink the water of life and ends up becoming kind of the leader to the Fremen. He has a really cool scene where he kind of comes out and like just gives a big crazy speech about why they should all join him, and starts looking at people and like saying things he knows about their grandmother's injuries from childhood and stuff. Oh, and Stilgar, Javier Bardem, fantastic. Oh, he's so good. I love him the whole movie. He's great. He does a fantastic job. I do notice, like, when I watched the first one, went right into the second one, a couple times their eyes are, like, bluer in different parts in this. So, like, I don't know, the Fremen seem to have blue eyes, like, really deep, and, like, other times not as deep. But, whatever. It was still really awesome looking. I loved it. I loved the whole movie. I'd recommend it. So, once they get a little further into it, though, after they go back from Gideon Prime, which is where the Harkonnen are, then Fade Rotha comes and he takes over for the Harkonnen, because Paul and the Fremen have been kicking their butts, right? And they're calling him Muad'Dib. And they don't know who Muad'Dib is because they think Paul's dead, right? So anyway, it ends up in a big confrontation where Paul ends up riding a worm to kind of show the Fremen he is like the leader that they need. And then he like goes and they get the atomics that are hidden. Gurney Halleck comes back too. Also great. Love the performance. Fantastic. But then they get the atomics, and then they go and they like basically shoot missiles, destroy a mountain, and they have stopped spice production so bad that Emperor Shaddam IV himself had to come down, and he brings his Sardaukar. They're a lot more scarier in the book, I'll tell you that, than they kind of come off here. They're sort of there, then they're kind of like, they're defeated pretty quickly. I mean, now again, Paul comes in with like worms, Shai-Hulud, like they come in with an army of Fremen, they're destroying a mountain with atomics, like there's dust everywhere, like, and it's all happening on Dune, right? So they let the other houses know, obviously, because there's going to be spice production is going to be halted if Paul. But anyway, that fight kind of happens. It's a pretty big battle. It's over pretty quick. Then they're just sort of in the room, and then. It's weird. In the book, I think it's Paul's sister kills his little sister. She's like 1 or 2, but because of the water life, she's like a fully formed person. Anyway, she kills the Baron Harkonnen. It's pretty cool. But in this, it's just Paul. He just kind of does it. It's pretty cool. Happens pretty quick. Just like Rabba, the Harkonnen that used to like terrorize the Fremen, he gets killed. Same thing. Happens pretty quick. It's just a fight scene in the middle of the battle. It's Gurney. I think it's Gurney that gets him. It's pretty cool. I like that too. And I absolutely love Paul versus Fade Rotha. Him one-on-one versus like that Harkonnen guy. Oh, just awesome knife fight. Paul's been trained, and that guy's been trained, and they're really going at it. And a few times you think Paul's gonna lose, you think Fade's got the upper hand, and then you think Paul does, and like they're just going, and it's so awesome, and it ends great. And like Fade, even when he loses, he just kind of looks at Paul he respects it, right? Like, And then Paul basically tells the Emperor, "I'm going to take your daughter as my bride," which he does in the book too, right? And like Johnny's basically his concubine that he's really with, and his mother I think says like they'll remember they'll call us concubines, but history remember us as wives or something like that. I don't remember the exact quote, but in this, no, none of that. Jenny just gets mad. She just leaves. She's just gone. Like she doesn't like him anyway. She's just done at this point. He's like talking about marrying space. She's like, I'm out. Peace out. She's just gone. So then Paul is up there and kind of says like warns all the other houses like, hey, spice production is going to stop. I'll destroy everything unless you kind of meet my demands, which I don't think they're going to do. And yeah, it's awesome. I don't think they put enough reference on like showing you why the spice matters so much. They should really make more about the spacing guild, and like they don't show like those evolved, I don't know, like the ones who actually bend the spice, the fish human things. They don't show any of them. They don't bring them into it at all, show them or anything like that. And I made a couple notes. It's awesome. And then it kind of ends like with Johnny. She's gone and she kind of just looks off angry in the sand. And I'm not sure where that's going because like I know where the story goes in Messiah with the twins. I mean I know, but I just I don't know where they're going. It's a different take and it's great. Honestly, it's fantastic. The changes are there, but I mean, like, you're going to watch the movie, you're going to love it. It's cinematic. The soundtrack is great. The world building is fantastic. Oh, and like I said, when I was in a huge theater, you like I said, you hear the ornithopters, you hear the fights, you hear the Fremen screaming, fear the fighters. Like you're in it. You're in the zone. You're like, I want to help the Fremen. You're like, this movie's awesome. Like it's great. The only other things I saw, yeah, I did miss Little Leto there. And the only other thing I had that I missed, the weirding modules. So in the book, or like the weirding modules, his name kind of becomes a weapon, like Muad'Dib, and they kind of don't touch on that. Not a big loss, but just another thing that when I was watching, I was like, this is going to come up eventually, but it didn't. So, but anyway, overall, I would highly recommend. Great movie, like cinematic experience. If you can go see it in IMAX, go to the biggest screen you can go and see it. You will not regret it. And thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate that, guys. Like and subscribe, and see you next time.